Hey everyone, welcome to our show.
Two Dorks, one Mike. Wow, it's uh, well, I'm Max. This is my lovely best friendo Kyle.
Hi everyone.
We're not awkward at all.
No,
But wow, it's been ages since we've done this.
it's been over a year. Yeah. Remember what
Has it been over a year?
Yeah, it's been over a year. Remember in the last episode where we said we'd be back next week? 2019 and 2020 have been a hell of a year. But
yeah, it's been a hell of a year, especially since so much shit has happened in the past year, and
exactly. But the good side is we actually have a lot of stuff to talk about, at least in this.
Yes, we do. In our wonderful absence, and now return to doing this shit again. It's like, wow, there's so much crap to talk about.
Exactly. Just letting my dog out really quick. All right.
Oh, wow, how professional of you. You couldn't just sit at your desk keeping it cash.
Hey. When a dog looks at you with those big brown eyes, you gotta love it. But anyway, so
I've got big brown eyes, and yet you never seem to cave to my demands.
I cave to your demands all the time, Max.
We're just friends. Don't take that the wrong way, please. Just
Okay.
don't.
Yes, we're very good friends, and it's just a couple of guys hanging out. Like
yeah, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. It's just one happens to be a he, the other happens to be a she. Yeah. One happens to be your typical hetero male, and then the other happens to be biracial and trans.
Yes,
we're best.
I'm the prime example of the typical hetero male. Mm-hmm. Okay, definitely. No,
it's like you're white bread, and then I'm basically probably the cinnamon raisin type that you get at the store. Just so much diversity and
baby spit with cold.
I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure that was a terrible metaphor anyway.
Oh no, that was funny. That was funny. Okay.
Oh, right. Thank you. I just thought of that. But yes, we're back, and we have a shitload of things to talk about.
All right, we're gonna try to do this. Try to get back into more of a schedule. Trying to do this. I think we said weekly, maybe.
Yeah, we're gonna try to strive for at least regularly, weekly right. If possible, but at the most regularly, rather than just, oh yeah, we'll just get around to doing one of these every couple of weeks. And we wanted to add a little bit more variety and a little bit more structure to what we're doing here, because I know it's just two dipshits just sitting at their computers just rambling about pop culture shit because, well, that shit matters to us. So, but we want to do it with a little bit more grace and a little bit more
organization,
structure, right. Not just rambling, but more like, oh yeah, we're going to try to better organically move from stuff that we're talking about, and then just the ensuing ramblings of said two dipshits as we go through that stuff. So,
exactly. So
other than that, yeah, you're still going to be getting your fix of idiots, talking about, the stuff that they think matters, but totally does matter, because let's be honest, it does. And yeah, our goal is to just keep it up.
Right.
That,
then,
so,
well, while we're the first thing we kind of have on the agenda is as fans will know, and maybe new viewers were not, you're a huge gamer. I am particularly not, but we both did play the new Miles Morales Spider-Man game. And just to give people a kind of idea, we both played the last Spider-Man game from Insomniac, and we both really liked it.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, look at my fucking wall.
Exactly.
There's a goddamn Spider-Man poster right there. I've got Spider-Man merch pretty much scattered around this one room.
My go-to suit for that was Ben Reilly's suit, but
so I mean, yeah, because Ben Reilly's fucking awesome.
Ben Reilly's the best, but no, what so we talked a little bit before we recorded, but you want to just say your points first, and then I'll go with mine, and then
we'll just converge.
Exactly.
But yeah, I really, I love this game. I think generally after the number of cinematic experiences that we've gotten thus far, a lot of them definitely kind of left me emotionally kind of feeling in the pits. It was just good to finally play something after so long that just was a nice, simple, feel-good story that wasn't too big for its britches and just was just a fun kind of just wholesome experience to dive into. But more on the gameplay side, it's like, oh hey, it's more Spider-Man. I've played the shit out of the previous game. Like, I've played the story more times than I can remember, because I just love the story that much, and the gameplay is so fun and never gets old, especially the web slinging. So to have more of that is really amazing, and to be able to step into the shoes of a different character with a different move set, a different way that he traverses throughout the world and does things, just felt it was just very fun to me. I didn't find myself getting bored. I loved pretty much every major aspect of it. Yeah, there are areas of the story that I did kind of feel falter a little bit, but overall, I enjoyed the story that it set out to tell. I love the cast of characters, both our mains and our supporting characters, and I especially say that for the supporting cast because I think, unlike the first game, this actually has like a small group of people living in this community, living in Harlem with Miles, that he can actually communicate, that he interacts with more directly and communicates with, and really has more of a, you really feel like you are actually making a difference in the neighborhood and doing what Spider-Man would do and helping people out. And it just feels really heartwarming and really productive to just kind of like partake in that sort of stuff. And yeah, it's just I love, yeah, I overall I'd have to say, like, I just love pretty much every major aspect of the game. It's damn near great, and I cannot wait to see what they do with their upcoming sequel.
And I agree pretty much with everything you say. I think the gameplay here, and again, I'm not a huge gamer. Like you're the gaming expert between the two of us. I very much am a casual gamer at best. But what I liked, and I think this is an improvement on the first game, specifically with the side missions, particularly with some of the combat. And I think the strength of this is Miles as a character. He very much is his own Spider-Man. I like that he goes about, his situation is very different to Peter, where, we all know Peter Parker, he doesn't really tell a lot of people when he first starts out that he's Spider-Man. Miles in this is kind of all his core cast members know he's Spider-Man. And his mom is very supportive of that. And he, the fact that he's got a smaller community, that they refer to him in the game as kind of Harlem Spider-Man, which I actually liked that take very much. And the biggest issue I have with the game, and Max, you said you kind of agree with me on this, is I wish there wasn't such a worship of Peter in Miles's character. I feel like that is the biggest thing. It's like,
well, I feel like that is more or less a very noteworthy aspect of the character in a nutshell, where it's, yeah, like when he first was brought into the fray, like when he was first introduced, it's like a huge draw of his motivation was, having this sort of ideological perception of Spider-Man, of Peter, that he wanted to try to live up to, being the new guy. And pretty much every other story that I've seen that uses him kind of has that same kind of concern. But the only exception I can think of to that being Spider-Verse, where they don't
really deal with that.
They don't. Well, yeah. I mean, it's not really that big of a concern there, but it's not really touched on that much to begin with. It's just, he just likes Spider-Man. It's never really taken out of proportion. It isn't really developed. It's just, he knows who this guy is.
The story arc of not to interrupt you, the story of Spider-Verse is how does Miles become his version of Spider-Man, where it feels like in this game, it's how does he live up to Peter Parker. Now, I understand the narrative, but it just seems like, they make a running joke out of Peter telling bad jokes during the training simulation, and Miles always thinks that it's funny. Now, for me, it's like, you can have it where Miles disagrees with Peter on certain things. Like, Miles never says a bad word about Peter, even just, man, that's a really lame joke. And I think, I'm wondering, like, and again, I don't know what the plan is for these games. Like, are they going to do, like, okay, we're going to do, like, the big Spider-Man Peter Parker stuff, and then we're going to do, like, a smaller, like, Miles game again? Or are we going to go to, like, the Spider, maybe even get, like, a Spider-Woman game? Or are we going to get, like, a Black Cat game? Like, or is it going to just kind of be, or is this just a one-off? How's it going to take over if Peter Parker dies in Spider-Man 2?
I'm trying to think, because I almost want to look at this kind of like it's, I almost kind of look at this as the game equivalent of like a tie-in book for a game.
Well, that's what it
So
feels.
usually,
Go ahead.
usually kind of how this works is that sometimes to promote a video game or to kind of keep a lot of its sort of steam going, if it's a franchise,
Mm-hmm.
usually what will get done is that comic book tie-ins will be made that kind of fill in missing pieces of narrative
Mm-hmm.
for the sake of keeping the fan base train essentially rolling, to
Right.
keep people sticking with the product and hence investing more into it by having all this other media to consume. For Mortal Kombat, they had I want to say they had two different series that both take place fill in different gaps in the timeline of that story, if I remember correctly. But it was most prominent. I remember it being most prominently done for the recent Tomb Raider games, where between the games, they would release a series of comics that would explain what happens between the first game, leading up to the events of the second one, and then they did the same thing between the second one and the third one. So that was a way of kind of keeping that sort of scene going whenever you were waiting for the next game. Essentially, it's something that kind of tided you over. I'm looking at Miles Morales as basically the game equivalent of that, where this is something to not only help kick off the new generation of systems, but also that we're getting but also to kind of give players this sort of appetizer, this virtual appetizer of sorts, while we wait for the next big sequel, which I foresee could probably be another 2 years away if they released this game 2 years after the first one.
No, I definitely think it's another 2 years away. But
I mean, I can't wait to see how it fucking looks, especially knowing what we know about what possibly could happen.
I should say I don't know what you played it on. I still have a PS4. I don't have a PS5 yet. I'm gonna wait for them to.
I'm still rocking it, but like just a base PS4. No Pro, okay. No interest. It's like I can wait for the next series of consoles to be a little bit to have not only be more available, but to actually have more games that I can enjoy and not just my PS4 backlog.
No, I agree. But yeah, no, and I think I will say though, and I want to get your opinion on this because we didn't talk about this at all. Doesn't it feel like kind of a waste to not have his dad there? Like because I feel like you have his dad and his uncle kind of being the angel and devil on his shoulders, and it feels like there's no pull from. I mean, maybe they can make his mom that, but that's not in this game that we have here. And I feel like, and I get narratively, wanting to have
right.
the dad gone, but I feel like it is kind of a waste to not have, especially with Peter being gone. So there's no like mentor character.
True. And I do feel like that is a bit of a waste, but I do feel like there was some kind of neat stuff to fill that void.
I agree.
In terms of like open world stuff. I do like the game doesn't prompt you to do this at all, but if it ever pops in your mind, it's like go to the cemetery in Harlem.
Yep.
And just find Jeff's grave and pay your respects. It's like that's kind of a nice little piece of world building where it's like, oh yeah, you could just see like Miles, going to, visit, his dad, visit his father's grave, and just say like, and probably just kind of look for a little bit of that sort of spiritual guidance. Like I could totally see that and for that character. And the fact that you can kind of do that, have your own little like impromptu moment of just that, it's like, yeah, I like that.
No,
and then I'm also one of the few people that probably did not mind the sound file missions.
I like that level. I like that mission.
I liked it because it's like, okay, you do this little challenging mind teaser, then you get a little bit more exposition on exactly what Aaron's relationship was with his brother.
Right. Well,
that was cool stuff to me.
Yeah, no, it was worth it for the character stuff. I thought was the
yeah,
and that's the strength of this game is Miles and the character stuff. The gameplay is great, but I think it's a strength of the storytelling. Not so much the writing, because some of the writing was to me a little
Well, I mean, before, like I said before we started this,
Well, yeah,
I
there's like
did
5
point
different
out that this
writers.
thing was written by had 5 writers,
It's insane.
which
Yeah,
is apparently something I missed when I was watching the credits, but I guess I was so caught up in the emotion of the moment that just slipped my mind. But
right. No, yeah, but yeah, it was some of the writing was a little off, but I think the storytelling stuff is here.
right,
I what was your go-to costume? Because my go-to
the
costume.
classic suit.
See, for me, I really like. I 99% love the Miles 2099 suit. I don't like the smoke coming off the eyes. That's the only thing I don't.
See, I saw some people like that detail. Like, I just like the classic suit. I really love how they took his outfit from the comics and gave it a little bit more of a modern twist.
No,
With
and I
the
think
fact that it actually has more texture and detail to it than just a black bodysuit with webbing over it. Like, I mean, yeah, that's cool and works on the page, but if you're gonna take that and do something a little bit more realistic looking with it, I really love the way that they designed his suit and implemented a little bit. You can see that through the design of it, it definitely has a lot of his flair.
mhm.
I also just love how how the shoes of his suit are athletic shoes and not kind of in like a similar vein that Peter's are. It's like for him that was just practical. For Miles, it's like it's practical and it's also just part of my style aesthetic, which I thought was a really cool detail.
No, and I agree.
My other go-to suit was the winter outfit because I mean it's
Oh
just
yeah,
like
that
a
was
scarf and a hat over top of the classic suit, but I just think it was adorable. Both the cutscene that he gets that in because I thought that was a really sweet moment of like, oh, you're having a positive impact on the neighborhood, and Haley just kindly just pays that forward, but it's like here I'll give you something, and it's just like that made me like I almost started tearing up because it was such a sweet moment.
right.
But also I also just find it adorable. It's like, yeah, I could picture Miles just bundling up just a little bit extra while swinging through the streets. It's like
Right.
it's cold, like it gets cold it gets fucking cold in New York.
I do love the winter aesthetic. That has got to like that the
Oh
Christmas
yeah,
aesthetic in New York is beautiful.
I maybe this just might be my love of Die Hard and anything that tries to sort of emulate aspects of it that I love. But it's just like, oh yeah, I love like a winter-esque setting where action shit's gonna go down. I think that's part of the reason why I also really love Arkham Origins because it's like, oh, it's almost kind of like if you could look at it, it's almost like Die Hard starring Batman,
Exactly. But no,
and it's great.
yeah, no,
I'm
no.
joking though, but
Well, he doesn't. Batman doesn't kill. Like John McClane.
and does it at once hint at Yippee Ki motherfucker, which is
Which
such a
again
waste.
is a disappointment because how great would it be to have Batman say "Yippee ki motherfucker"?
Yeah, it'd be fucking sweet. I'm pretty sure Roger Craig Smith would have a field day being like, yeah, I got to voice the Batman.
Yeah.
They got to say one of the best catchphrases of all time in a game. So
Yeah.
deal with
No,
that.
but no, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do next. I've heard. I mean, again, you can never really trust all the rumor stuff that's coming out. I mean, I've heard that it's going to take place in Tokyo. I've heard that they're going to do like.
Really,
I mean,
that seems kind of strange.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is like, but they already have a sandbox built for New York. Why would they?
You just take Manhattan and you just give us more shit to see.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Here's my pitch. Here's my pitch. You can keep the Manhattan map, maybe add a little bit more depth and detail to it. I'm thinking if you can manage it, full internal building, like internal exploration of buildings at will, not just for story missions. Like one of the most like few things that did kind of disappoint me was when watching the original E3 reveal trailer, when you actually see Spidey parkouring his way through a restaurant. It's like, oh cool, you're actually gonna get to like go inside certain interiors, kind of like something kind of similar to like traversal in Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag,
right.
where while you're running you could run, or this was also an Assassin's Creed 3 as well. But the point is, while you're running, you could traverse through certain interior environments as a shortcut, and it flowed very dynamically and very believably with the gameplay, which I thought was really cool. So to have a feature like that in an open world Spider-Man game, I thought would be really cool, but it's not in the final game at all. And I'm kind of thinking, all right, if you could bring something to the sequel, do that. We don't have to be able to explore the entire map inside and out. I just think certain buildings would definitely add to the dynamicness of it, where it's like, oh, you want to take a shortcut?
I'd like to go inside the Daily Bugle.
Oh yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, I'd love to go there too. But I'm just thinking, like, just imagine, like, you're in, like, swinging through the city, like, high and, like, near the rooftops, and you want to take, like, a quick shortcut, like, maybe bust through a window and just parkour your way through whatever interior environment that is out the other side to
Right.
easily more close in on who you're trying to who you're trying to chase. Like, something cool and cinematic like that would be really neat. And then as for the rest of it, I would say just add, other areas to allow us to explore. Like, let us go over one of these bridges to the other side and just see what's over there.
Right. You know.
Just a thought.
Yeah. I don't think they're gonna let us go to Jersey though.
No, because then it would just be a bunch of people just shit talking Jersey in the game.
Get out of here, Spider-Man. You think you're better
Oh
than
no,
labs?
I'd be more worried about certain players just like having like a fit, because it's like, oh, this game's set in we can go to Jersey.
Oh,
Why would we want to go to Jersey?
I know.
Especially if you live in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Except I have a good friend of mine from high school that actually is from New Jersey, so I think he'd be one of the exceptions. Be like, come on, guys, give this a fucking chance.
I will only accept Jersey if every person in Jersey is voiced by Kevin Smith.
Oh my god.
But no, I don't have anything
That's
more.
ridiculous.
I don't have anything more. I think it's a good game. I think it's solid.
Especially, if you're playing it on the PS4 like some of us.
Right. We
Like,
don't have
I feel. Well, I think it's great that it's a launch title for the PS5. I mean, from my understanding, aside from a bunch of cross-gen titles, there's only like a handful of actual exclusive games to that system,
right.
which is very disappointing in my book.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, at least when the Switch came out in 2017, it had Breath of the Wild.
Right.
For a lot of us, you didn't need anything else when you picked up your Switch. You just needed a copy of that, and you were set for the next 100, 120, maybe 150 hours until you wanted to play something else.
Right.
But now it's just like, okay, you got this, you got this, you have this, I guess. But I don't think one game alone should be a reason why I spend a couple $100 just to get the new system. And once I'm done with that,
and then also,
what the fuck else am I gonna do?
Good luck finding one anyway. There's so many people that just got them.
Yeah, we don't need to go into the shortages or the scalpers that are currently, making waves with all of their terribly obtained stock and how they're hoarding that over people, and they're just a bunch of assholes in general for thinking that that's something that would be okay to do.
Exactly.
But yeah, we don't gotta go into that. I'm just more concerned, like, thinking like, hey guys, if you're not ready to, upgrade to the next generation, you can just buy the PS4 version. It's a still very fun and competent version.
Yeah.
Like,
I was worried it was gonna be. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, what? No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I was worried that the PS4 version was gonna be like a watered down version, but it doesn't feel like it at all.
No, it doesn't. Like, I've seen Digital Foundry's video talking, doing a side-by-side comparison, going through all the different modes and stuff, and yeah, you can definitely see like a mild difference, but you're still getting the same game with all the same content. The only difference is the amount of detail and characters and other textures. It's just, and also the ray tracing. Like, if you're buying on PS5, it's like, okay, you can have your performance mode, which makes the game look more like absolutely stunning and amazing and amazing and everything. Or you can have ray tracing, which, okay. Or you can have ray tracing, which, that is a really cool effect. Or you can have, but choose between your 30 or 60 FPS frame rate, which that really doesn't make a difference to me as long as, the game runs very stable. Or if you buy the PS4 version, you don't get any of those cool added bells and whistles, but you are still getting the same package, just at a slightly lower quality. No. But it still looks really amazing as is. I don't immediately need to play it on PS5. I'm perfectly fine waiting.
No, absolutely, 100%. And then
and I'm also holding out for them to reveal the God of War sequel, because I'm probably not going to buy one until I see footage of that. Please, Corey, I know you and the guys are hard at work on this, but just give us something, please. I need to know. I need to know what we're getting into. Just something, anything, please.
Yeah. No. But yeah, I don't have anything else on Miles. But The big news on Sunday I saw, and this kind of affects you and me, is the Daredevil thing. Marvel has now got the rights to Daredevil back again from Netflix as of Sunday. And I know there are people who are out there saying that they want Disney to continue the show. And look, I say that, like, look, I love Daredevil. Daredevil's my guy. Max is Punisher fan, and Max is said she loves Punisher and I love Daredevil. I will say this:
he's the Matt Murdock to my Frank Castle.
Exactly, on the Matt Murdock to your Frank Castle. The Daredevil show will. I don't want to be one of those people that are like, it'll never happen. It is very, very, very unlikely that the Daredevil show will continue or be saved by Disney in any conceivable way, because it is so connected to Defenders and Luke Cage and Iron Fist and those other shows. And I think Disney would rather get a clear start, sadly. I mean, we could probably bring back the cast, but I think that might just confuse people. I think they're just going to hold on to it and wait. I don't think we're going to get any announcement in 2020 or 2021.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at how long it took us to get a Blade announcement.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
And now that they got these characters back, you think they're just going to be itching to throw them into the fold with all the other characters?
Right.
I mean, that'd be some hella wishful thinking, but.
And again, like, I'm a huge Daredevil fan. Like, and they're not.
Yeah, I mean,
But the thing, and we talked about this too. Like, if you get these characters back into the MCU, they're not going to be the Netflix version. They're not going to go as dark as that. Like,
right.
They're I said this before. If Disney does a Daredevil movie, they're not going to do The Man Without Fear. They're going to do The Sightless Swashbuckler. They're not going to go as far. Because how do you fit Daredevil into the tone of the MCU? How do you fit Punisher into the tone of the MCU?
I imagine what I foresee is a shitload of focus testing and finding some fucking just subtle way to test the waters for that kind of material, those type of characters, and just slowly building up to an underwhelming reveal and ultimate release.
Well, my thing is, like, I know people are saying that there's going to be an adult version of, there's going to be an adult section of Disney Plus, but even so, like, they're not going to do anything with that because it's going to be another show. If they're going to do a movie, they're going to do a movie. So yeah. I
still think a show would be better because it's, like, clearly it's been shown that a lot of these characters, only really two of them, work better in this episodic format where you can really, let their time to shine last a very, very long time compared to a typical feature film.
No, exactly. I agree with that 100%. There's no, like, they're not going to do an R-rated Daredevil movie. Like, I know people say, well, they're doing an R-rated Deadpool movie, but that's going to be under Fox. I mean, it's going to be
technically.
Right, it's going to be under a Fox banner, and Deadpool is already proven. He already had 2 movies under his belt. Look, I love Daredevil and I love Punisher, but Punisher and Daredevil have not had hit films. Have not had the
ever.
Right, they're not.
I mean, yeah, the Punisher got 3 movies, but all of them were technically box office bombs.
Exactly, and Daredevil had 1 movie that made some money, but no one liked. Except
because for people that know what's up, it was a slap in the face, and for people that don't know what's up, they think he's just a shitty character.
Exactly.
And nobody wins.
The director's cut was.
God damn, nobody fucking won.
But
and then they those beautiful bastards gave us this kick-ass show on Netflix, and it was amazing.
Yep.
Had so many great moments, and then they just up and ripped it from us.
Exactly. Like, there's no. I mean, what do you put the odds on getting this cast back?
I mean, clearly they all are basically itching to come back.
No,
So
exactly. But like, I'd love to see them come back, but I don't see it. I mean, again, I could be wrong. I don't want to be one of those people that's like, it's never going to happen. I could 100% be wrong and an idiot. I'm an idiot in most things in my life. But
hey, at least you're saying it.
right, exactly. Do I think it'll happen? No. Would I love it to happen? Yes. But the other thing
Obviously.
to it, I don't want the actors to come back if they're going to be watered down versions of these characters. I don't want to put on the suit again if they're going to make it. If they're going to make Daredevil do quips, if they're going to make these characters lighter, in the sense of like, look, and you can do lighter versions of these characters, but when I'm saying lighter, I'm saying I don't want them to do the Disney version of Daredevil. I don't want to see the Disney version of Punisher.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned that because I mean that's quite literally John Bernthal's only condition. You know, like his only real like thing is that if I'm gonna come back, then we got to do it right.
Exactly.
So he's not. So if they are willing to bring the character back but heavily water him down, then he's not gonna have it, and that means getting some other schmo to step into the boots without any real comprehensive understanding of just how intense and real that character is, and then you're just getting a shitty reproduction, shitty knockoff, and that's not a win, and that's not a winner for anybody, because I mean, for me as the diehard fan of this character, that just feels like a slap in the face. And then again, you're going to have people that, for people that don't know, they're going to have this completely misconstrued idea of who he is, and before you know it, kids are idolizing and obsessing over him without fully understanding what type of a character he is.
Exactly.
And that's not good.
Exactly.
The last thing, I really hate seeing it when the youth idolize and look up to something that they don't fully understand.
Oh, like
it's just
like the people who wear the Punisher pin.
Yeah, like that's the thing that I like still drives me up a wall today, where it's just like, do you people not realize what that emblem represents?
Mm-hmm.
So why are you constantly doing these alternative like pattern designs and using them for emblems or logos or whatever, just willy-nilly without fully understanding what that emblem, like what that symbol represents to not only Frank but also to the other people that see it.
Right.
It's not something that you should associate yourself with.
Right. Well, and my thing is like, I think you and I agree, the best scene of the Marvel Netflix shows is the scene between Punisher and Daredevil in Daredevil season 2 when he's got him chained on the roof.
That's hands down my favorite episode.
And we're not going.
There's nothing can change my mind.
Right. No, I'm agreeing with you.
Not only because it had like one of the best fight scenes like in the entire show, but mostly because I just love the character stuff of that entire episode.
So I don't think that the MCU is going to give us stuff like that. So
no, they're not going to have they're not going to have a very well shot, well lit scene of two men debating morals.
Right.
Yeah, you're never going to get something that deep.
You know, where
I wish, but
where you have it where Frank is literally talking, you know, Frank, a Catholic, is talking to a devil and trying to convince the devil that the devil's no worse than him. I just love that irony. And then, you know.
Yeah, I do. I find that very ironic. I find that's part of why I love their dynamic so much as characters, because clearly they both want to do the same thing. They just do it in very different ways.
Exactly.
And that is constantly where they butt heads in the comics, and it's really cool to get to see them do that in this get to see them do that in that show.
Right, exactly. And I don't want like Daredevil inviting Punisher to go have shawarma and talk about like,
oh no, I don't think my brain can handle that, and I get pretty emotional at just like a lot of things in general. So the last thing I need is something that terrible and cringy just giving me a friggin' heart attack or something.
Look at Jensen Ackles from Supernatural now that show's over to play Frank. We'll get the CW version of Frank Castle.
No, I want John Bernthal back. I want him back.
I want Charlie Cox back, but no. I mean, Yeah, I mean,
Well, I mean, he'd obviously do it because apparently he can't seem to get other work because of Daredevil.
I don't know why. He's a good actor. Like, fucking Jesus.
No, but I still find it kind of heartbreaking hearing him like just remembering his story about how he lost the lead in Solo.
Yeah.
It's like that is just so
Well,
so disheartening.
maybe that was a good thing because Solo wasn't that good of a movie and didn't make any money.
Well, but true. But I just find it, I just find it unfortunate that his chances of being a part of that project were shot down because of a habitual thing that he did, does playing Matt Murdock.
Right. But
which I find very unfortunate. It's like good on you for taking your craft so seriously, but it's like unfortunate that it had to bleed into your other work and essentially ruining an opportunity because of it.
right. This next story, I don't really have anything to say on it except happy and congratulations and all that stuff. You want to talk about the Elliott Page stuff?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, as the only LGBT person between the two of us, I feel like we should, say something about this because I mean, this is a very well-known, beloved, and I guess I could say popular individual. So to see them after all of this, all of this time and all of their work, and they say, and they finally say, it's like, look, it's time that's like I'm gonna start being my genuine self, my real self right now, like now, finally, and we just all go back to business as usual. And that really just resonated like with me because it's like, oh wow, even someone with such a filmography, such a reputation seems like kind of like a more harsh word, like just such a presence in the industry and all the things that they've done over their career over the past several years. And now it's just like, oh wow, it's like all of that. And it's like, oh, I guess in a way you're just kind of closing the book or closing, like, ending the chapter and starting a new one. And it's like, oh wow, you're now finally just being yourself and, hopefully getting to live life and the way that, and just hopefully life becomes, more of what you wanted as a result of that. And hopefully, the industry, I just hope that the industry is just very accepting and understanding and accommodating of his choice. I hope that all of us can collectively say that we got his back through this, both because I can't imagine how difficult. I mean, I can tell you how difficult it is just coming out as transgender or just coming out as LGBT in general. But to already have such a reputation and have such a presence in the entertainment industry, and then to openly have the bravery and courage to step up and say that, okay, this isn't really who I am, and it's time that I change that and start actually being who I really am, and just kind of, I guess to everyone's surprise, it's great, but at the same time, I just truly hope that the industry can be actually us accepting and accommodating of that, because that can't be easy to just it cannot be like easy to not only come to that realization and want to go about that change, want to go about that process of becoming yourself, but to do it when so many people already recognize you and know your work, and though none of that's going to change, it's just like, oh wow, it's like, are we as viewers going to be able to, I guess, keep up with that, is a way of saying it. And I just hope that, and I just hope that the industry and everyone is accommodating and accepting of that, because it's not freaking easy.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I don't have a lot to say on it, because I mean,
I wouldn't expect you to. You're white bread normie.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think,
like, I'm covering all kinds of bases here. What do you bring to the table?
No, exactly. I mean, I'm just a fucking god.
It's like I'm basically the diversity hire and the LGBT quota rolled into one.
Hey, I am brown haired. So boom. No,
Yeah, because
no,
you dyed it the other day.
yeah, no,
You
I
punk.
mean, again, like I saw this and I just thought good for him. I think this is really, um, you know, awesome. It came out of nowhere. Like again, like it was just like,
Yeah, well, I mean, it usually does, and
right. No, I
though
just
it's
like,
surprising, the least we can do is just
no, exactly. And honestly,
be loving,
really,
accommodating, accepting.
I'm really surprised that like, cause like I asked you if you wanted to cover this because I didn't think there was really a story here. I just thought like, okay, that's good. Like, yeah, if you're not,
Well, I mean, I mean,
because I've seen some other
I
people
kind of look at this as just. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I saw some other people like making a huge story out of this, like in terms of like, oh my god, what does this mean? It's like,
It's. I don't see why I don't
exactly,
understand
like I
why
didn't,
making a spectacle or sensationalizing this is
yeah, no,
anything.
like
If anything, I'm bringing it. Like I think bringing attention to it is important because it's like, oh wow, this is a positive development for the LGBT presence in the entertainment industry.
no,
I mean,
exactly,
someone not like it's someone to have the courage to not like to fully want to be their genuine self
hmm
when they have such a presence is very bold and at the same time but also very like very great because it's like this person despite who a lot of people recognize them as still found it within themselves to want to start be who they really are. And I hope that moving forward that they can still have the same level of success and opportunity than before nothing's really changing.
exactly.
It's just the outlook. What it's like why I just hope that people don't make a big deal out of this, and I really hope that it doesn't become like get sensationalized. But I think bringing attention to it because of what it's positively doing is helpful. It's a good way to go about it rather than making a big fuss out of it like it's a big fucking deal because it isn't. Like,
Right.
can we just talk about how much of a positive development this is for LGBT people?
Right.
Because it's like we don't have that much of a presence in the industry to begin with. So I mean, yeah, you have the occasional person that comes out as gay or bisexual, but how many trans people do we actively have in the industry, and how many of them actually have a more noteworthy presence? Like, I guess you could say have prominent names in the lines with the more typical talent out there.
Right.
I can think of maybe a handful of names, but even then, it's not really any. It's not probably anyone that you'd really know of or think of,
Right. No,
which is unfortunate. So I hope that changes.
no, exactly, and I hope that
I mean, that's what I want. Like we want to set out to do is it's like having that diversity and having that inclusion because it has a place in a story and not is for the sake of checking a box.
yeah, it's not tokenism. It's just they're
Yeah.
it's the difference between like uh you know a great character who happens to be so and so versus just, oh, here's Justin, be, and that all their character is this. But
Exactly.
so yeah, no, but yeah, and then you said you want to talk about the Game Awards.
Yes. All right. So we're just switching gears. That was a brief one.
Well,
Okay. So yeah, the Game Awards.
Really a lot to talk about. It was just okay, good for him.
That's really all that we should leave it as. Because remember, these people have their own personal lives, and the least we could do is be courteous and leave them be.
Exactly.
But I mean, this is the real world. That's not gonna fucking happen.
Ugh.
You people know who you are. You know what you're doing.
These kids.
But anyway, yes, the Game Awards are coming up on December 10th, and I'm pretty stoked for this because I mean, since we couldn't exactly have E3 this year, not that we need it anymore because all the companies have basically finally fucking figured out how we should be doing it. But now that we haven't exactly had the time to have any big spectacle events for video games, at least we have this. So the other day, I believe it was last week or so, I honestly can't freaking remember right now. They announced all the nominees for all the different categories, and they just opened up voting for the event. So I'm currently on their website right now, just taking kind of a look at the different categories. This is always kind of fun for me because I typically don't play all the major releases that come out during the year because I don't want to play everything that's going to come out this year. I want to play like a select handful of different things. But for once, I've actually, kind of played most of the major noteworthy titles, or at least two of them that have been making waves, and that was The Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima. So obviously knowing that they were going to be in the nominees for most of these categories is unfucking surprising, but I think I'm just going to go through like some of these categories, and maybe if you just have like something that you want to chime in on, I guess.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, I don't know. I'll give my opinion. I don't have much of an opinion on it, but I will give it.
Okay, well, so for the big one, we got Game of the Year. So the nominees for that category are Doom Eternal,
Okay.
Final Fantasy VII Remake,
Okay.
Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Animal Crossing New Horizons, and The Last of Us Part 2. Now, I only played 2 of those games, and like I said it before, it was Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us Part 2.
Mhm.
But if I had to really pick which one I liked, and this is where I feel a hot take is coming in, I'm really mostly primarily rooting for Ghost of Tsushima because personally I just love the story of that game more.
Right.
And I felt I got more out of that experience on that level than I did from The Last of Us Part 2. Now, I've never like really said this a lot before, but whenever I think of the game, I think of it, I enjoyed the story. I
Mhm.
just do not like how it's told. And that's probably my biggest complaint about the entire game. It's like I enjoyed the story for what it is,
Right.
Flaws and all, but my big takeaway from the story as a whole was I liked it. I just do not like how it was told. And that really kind of dampened the experience for me on top of a few other different aspects, on mostly being the fact that the game is just really hella sorry, I don't want to make a habit of using the word hella unless it's jokingly, but the game was just really fucking pressing. So after I'd finished, there just came a point when I was just playing this just to get to the end and stop all the violence and just pain that I'm immersing myself in, and I can just say like, all right, fine, fuck it, I'm done.
Right.
And that's pretty much where my head was at from like the last couple of hours of the game, because I didn't hate it. I was just so emotionally dead on the inside because of all the shit that I'd done leading up to where I was at up to that point. And now it's just like, can I be done? I just want to go home. I don't even care I just want to go home. I'm done. I'm done with all this crap.
Yeah.
That was basically my experience with the story. Whereas Ghost of Tsushima, I actually resonated more with Jin as a character, and that most of that of the cast of characters. And I really did like the story that it was trying to tell, where rather than being this jumbled narrative that's trying to juggle a bunch of different ideas to little or no success with its execution, Ghost of Tsushima is pretty straightforward with the story that it's trying to tell, and I liked how it overall turned, and I overall really liked it. Gameplay is amazing too, but I mostly prioritize narrative.
Right.
That's just how I am. But I did really, I did really like Ghost of Tsushima, so I'm primarily going to be rooting for that one, especially for Game of the Year. But there's definitely a lot of different other aspects of it that I like. Looking at some of the other categories, it's like we have, best game direction. We've got Final Fantasy VII, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Half-Life Alyx, and then The Last of Us Part 2. That's kind of more of a divide for me because both of these games are really well directed.
Okay.
But I also feel in the case of directing, they also kind of ties a little bit more into the writing. So I think I'm going to pass this one off to Ghost of Tsushima as well, because I felt their vision was a little, at least they had a bit more of a focused vision of what they were trying to accomplish. One of my biggest complaints with The Last of Us Part 2 is just how it tries to juggle a handful of different ideas and themes, but does so with varying success. And most of it's very minuscule, in my opinion, at least. Best narrative, I'm just gonna say Ghost of Tsushima again.
Okay.
Best art direction, I'm gonna give that to The Last of Us because I love post-apocalyptic landscapes, and I will admit that this is one of the most beautiful looking games on PlayStation 4. I think Ghost of Tsushima just looks a little bit better, but I definitely do appreciate all the hard work and attention that went into the design of this game and making a post-apocalyptic wasteland that's been retaken over by Mother Nature. I love it. When you aren't shooting and killing people and immersing yourself in such horrible, horrible stuff, the world's actually pretty beautiful to look at. It's like, look at all the lush green and the environments, and you can just hear animals in the distance just going about their lives, and it's super. There's like a blissful beauty to it all when nothing's happening.
Right.
But the rest of the time it's just depressing, and you're too depressed to pay attention to any of it. Best score. Actually, I'm gonna give that to The Last of Us Part 2. I was tempted to give it to Doom Eternal because I listened to a little bit of the music from Doom Eternal. I haven't played the game yet, but Mick Gordon still delivers as always until but I mean it's a really solid sound, like really solid score and music, but yeah, there's a whole thing behind the scenes that his music wasn't exactly 110% what he wanted it to be in the final game, and it kind of shows, but it's still really top quality stuff.
Okay.
Like you could just play that on a road trip and just listen to the sick stuff, the sick hellish metal of all the music.
Hell yeah. Well, Doom's always
Jesus,
had that
there's
kind of sound.
Oh yeah, it's basically just heavy metal album, the game.
Right.
Which is part of what I like about it. It's just so simple. And then best audio design. Okay, 3 of these that I played were Ghost of Tsushima, Resident Evil 3, and The Last of Us Part 2. I feel like I'm gonna Resident Evil 3 because just the way that they do atmosphere and sound is just so fucking good. Like when you start the game and you just take a second to just stand still, you can really hear just how much of a shitstorm on the outbreak. It's like there's shit blowing up left and right. You hear people screaming. You hear gunfire. You just hear all the panic and distress. Zombies are flooding the city. It feels like you are in the middle of a shit show of an outbreak, and it's pretty awesome, which I really liked. And plus, even when you're in more claustrophobic environments, you could hear a pin drop. It's so quiet, like so dead silent in some places, that all you hear is just the sounds of your character's clothing moving and their shoes and their boots hitting the floor. It's like it does it so fucking good that it's creepy.
Okay.
It really will the sound design will fucking unsettle you alone.
Huh.
And then best performance. This is probably the last topic that the last one I'm going to go over. So we've got Ashley Johnson as Ellie, Laura Bailey as Abby, Daisuke Tsuji as Jin Sakai from Ghost of Tsushima, and then I didn't play Hades, by the way, so I don't know who this is. And then Najee Jeter as Miles Morales. So this one's kind of another tough pick for me because it's like, okay,
well,
the only
one I've played is Miles Morales, and I can say, like, I think the guy, what was the guy who played it?
Najee Jeter.
I thought he did really good. I thought because he's older than what you would think for playing.
Yeah.
Miles. And I think he captured the energy of a young kid really, really well. So I mean,
he does a really good job of that. Because the funny thing, it's like this actor also played the minor character Sam in The Last of Us, actually.
Oh, did he?
I remember when you meet Sam. And
I've only played The Last of Us 1. I haven't played Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah, we've had a whole conversation, had a whole conversation about that. Like, I personally love the first game. It's one of my all-time favorites. He was in the contrary, but you know what? It's okay.
No, I okay. I can understand.
I just threw you under the bus.
I know you did. You threw me under the bus, man. I can understand why people like it. It's not a bad game. It's just not for me. So it's not that I don't like it. Don't fucking at me, okay?
It's like, yes, it's like, yes, say that to your very say that to your very loving dear friend who also just happens to be like a diehard fan. I mean, look at my fucking tattoo.
No, exactly.
That's Ellie's fucking tattoo.
No, and
Because I
look,
love her that much.
it's not for me. I get why people love it. Don't fucking at me.
No one's gonna at you, I swear,
Okay.
because
All
we
right.
don't get that much traction anyway, so it's not like we matter.
Exactly. But don't.
But no, I I don't know. I just found that to be like just a fun little fact that it's like, oh wait, the guy that played this very youthful character in The Last of Us also would go on to play Miles Morales, another very youthful, believably youthful character in the first game, and then his own solo game was fucking awesome. Like he's really great as the character.
No,
I mean,
really,
yeah, the writing does misstep in some places, but I don't blame that on him.
No, exactly.
He does kick-ass work despite that.
As a performance, I thought he was really good. Yeah, no, I would, again, I haven't played the other games, so my vote would just go for him, but.
Well, I just find this funny because it's very rare that we would get something, and it's an instance where you have two people nominated for the same award that were part of the same game.
Okay.
Like, I can't recall off the top of my head the last time something like this happened, but I find that just. Actually, no, wait. I think it did happen in 2018. I think Christopher Judge and Sonny Soljic were both nominated for Best Performance for their work in God of War. Because, I mean, they were basically a father and son in that story, and you believed it.
Okay.
So I think they both were nominated for that award that year, but I can't 100% remember. Jesus, it was that long ago.
Okay.
But yeah, to have like an instance like this, it's very interesting to me because both of them do a really kick-ass job in their respective roles. But then I let my bias kind of step in and say like, no, but you love Ellie. She's like your favorite female video game character that isn't Lara Croft. No, I pretty much I've accepted that I pretty much love them both very equally because they're both awesome.
Right.
No. But like one of my favorite female video game characters, and I absolutely loved her personality and her arc in the first game, and to some degree I like what she brings, what she kind of goes through in the sequel, given how much more of a grounded and more intense story it's trying to convey. I mean, for shit's sake, again, I have her fucking tattoo. That's how much I love this character, and I just can't help but feel like maybe my bias is kind of leaning more towards her because of how much I love this character, rather than wanting to give credit where it's due for Laura Bailey, who does a phenomenal job as Abby. I think it was really fucked up and wrong that people gave her so much shit, and in an instance also worse, because you just don't like her character. It's like you can not like the character, you just don't have to be shitty about it.
Right.
Like if you don't like it, you don't like it. Like don't be giving someone shit or God for like death threats because you just can't handle the fact that it's like because you just don't like what they brought.
Right. Absolutely.
It's like that's just a fucking character. It's literally just a fucking character. Are you dumb? Are you dense?
Chill.
But she did it. Yeah, but still, like she just.
Right.
Not unless you're Frank Castle. But
no. What? So who are you voting for?
Well, I mean.
Ellie.
I mean, I did. I mean, I did like Suji as Jen, but. I don't know. I'm probably going to think about it a lot longer, but my bias is leaning heavily towards Ellie because, again, I have fucking bias. I just, she did a great job portraying this young kid with a shitload of innocence and so much to learn about the world and quickly, but is very smart and competent and, has her own, she has her moments. Like, she did a really good job doing all of that in the first game, and then to see more of that in the sequel, but have her go down a completely different mental, physical, and just emotional path was very interesting for me to see. And one of my criticisms is, they don't really go as far with it as they should or do it in a way that I deem would have been great. But I still enjoyed it for what it is and think that she should be really commended for her kick-ass role. And I think that's what's so difficult is like, oh, wow, we have these two people that played these really well portrayed portrayed leads in this game together, and it's hard for me to pick like, all right, who did I actually thought did a better job though?
Yeah, I think you're going for Ellie. I'm gonna say you're
Yeah,
voting for
I also think Ashley Johnson's just a sweet little lady. She's a great actress.
Yeah.
Does great stuff. And I just think she just, you know what, for giving us one of like the best female characters out there, LGBT especially.
Right.
It's like, come on, you deserve a win.
Exactly. But no,
It's like how many other female, like gay female characters can you think of that are written well?
I don't know a lot of games, so I can't say.
I mean, technically, I could say Lara Croft, but that was never officially confirmed. No, well, it's funny because I was doing some like random kind of research into different lore elements because again, I typically like the stories and lore and stuff. And I saw because in one of the comics, in the second series about before Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which was the last game in that trilogy, they did have a bit in the story where she does kind of meet up with her, reunite with her best friend and kind of reconcile her relationship with her. And it's supposed to be through some type of perspective and altering experience that she realizes that her feelings for her best friend are actually more than just friendship. It's romantic, and she was actually supposed to kiss her. But for some fucking reason, it was redrawn and was turned into a hug, which I found very disheartening on two levels because it's like, oh, wow, you're telling me that for a long-ass time, like, it was slowly being built up that she's gay and was going to be with her best friend, you know, friend, like her friend, like her closest friend that she met in college. And they were supposed to, and they could have been, and it could have been really cool to give us like this really badass capable character who just turns out to be gay. And I would have really loved that, but for some wacky reason, I don't know why, it just did not get it. They just didn't get to, you know, take the cat out of the bag. And I find that kind of disappointing because it's like, oh wow, we could have had this iteration not only be, you know, kick-ass representation for women and perhaps just people in general, but to have LGBT representation like that just put very naturally into the character and her story would have been really amazing, but they just never went full circle with it, and I'm kind of interested to know why.
Yeah, then that does sound. I wonder what happened at the last minute. I mean, you know,
like I'm genuinely curious. Like if anyone can like,
there's probably some studio bullshit.
Well, that's the thing. Like what I looked into, like there's really no like I couldn't find any information that specified the reason why it just got redrawn for some reason. So if anyone could possibly know where I could get the answer to that question and why and why they changed that one panel, seriously, just let me know. I want to know this. I want to know why this iteration of this iconic character, you know, couldn't be herself and be with the person that she apparently really loves,
right?
Because of some fucking reason.
No, exactly. But yeah, no.
That's just me nerd griping though.
No, you're good. I mean, fucking dude, that's what our show is.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. But yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, definitely Ashley Johnson. Like she deserves a win.
She deserves a win.
And yeah, and then
you heard it here. And when Max predicts it correctly, come back to this video and say you were right, Max. You were right.
No, I don't want to be right. I'm not in this to be right. I'm in this to express an opinion. There's a difference.
Exactly. No, but,
and then there's several other different categories, but we don't need to go into those.
Oh, okay.
People only care about the major ones like Game of the Year and you know, like best performance and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, there's categories for indie games and
it's kind of like the Oscars. No one really gives a shit about lighting.
Pretty much, yeah. It's like no one gives a shit about, oh, what game had the most accessibility or what game had the best, like, I mean, I care about those things, but I'm pretty certain a lot of other people just fucking don't. So
exactly. But no, so we're going on to our last topic then, which is
really, did we burn through these that fast?
Yeah, we did actually.
No, you're fine. I'm just messing with you. I'm joshing.
No, because I don't even know how long we've been going. But just Snyder Cut talking about Batfleck possibly coming back for Justice League 2 and 3. You want to give your thoughts on the Snyder Cut? Just because I know you went to visit and we saw the trailer at DC Fandom, but
yeah, that was a fun weekend.
Oh yeah.
It's like for those of you that may have forgotten or just don't know, because again, we don't know who the fuck's coming back to watch this shit. We really don't. Right. I'm putting this on a fucking dead channel and hoping us getting this right this time will mean that it'll actually become something that, you know, is actually worth doing. more or less.
But
Hopefully. But anyway, yeah, it's like some few months ago, I decided to take a very quick weekend trip to go visit my best bud because we don't live in the same state. We live a couple states apart. So I trekked across. So over the course of my weekend, I trekked across a few states to at least, spend a little bit of time with my best bud.
right.
And we watched, or at least I tried to watch DC Fandom. I was pretty half asleep.
Uh-huh.
And also pretty baked out of my mind because I live in Michigan, so what up?
Right.
But yeah, we watched that, and I just remember it being a very awesome but very exhausting day.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really cool getting to see oh wow, so this is what his vision for the movie looked like, and already from the get-go it looked like just a lot more promising because it actually looked like there was some fucking passion put into it.
Well, it didn't look like it was a Frankenstein job because what we talked about, Snyder and Whedon are very different directors. And
and you can definitely see where the styles differ.
Right, and I don't want to go into the controversy surrounding that.
It's seriously Justice League straight up looks like the Avengers.
No, it does.
Just tag out all the characters with those ones.
Right. Well, and the problem is what we talked about. Whedon is writing for his version of those characters. He's not writing for Affleck's Batman. He's not writing for Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. He's not writing for Ray Fisher's Cyborg. He's not writing for Ezra Miller's Flash, or even Jason Momoa's Aquaman. He's writing for his version of those characters, and he's not doing what Snyder would have done with those characters. Which,
right.
But yeah, and I think what's exciting is because I wanted to see this, but I didn't think we were ever really going to. But my thing is,
I thought it was a fever dream until they actually showed footage.
Exactly.
I genuinely thought it was.
The big thing that I wanted to kind of take away from
the little dream that could but can never be.
Exactly. I thought this was going to be like a Richard Donner Superman 2 kind of thing. But what I'm excited about is because now this is all a rumor. Take all of this with a grain of salt. This is not us doing this is definitely happening. But I will say this.
Yes, we're not those clickbait artists.
Right, exactly. There is I'm going to say if they're spending this ton of money to finish the movie, they want a Justice League 2 and 3.
Right.
I'm going to say that. Now, will we get it? I'd love to see it. What do you put on the chances of Batfleck coming back?
I don't know. After following his personal stuff and kind of easing back into film with A Way Back, which I still haven't seen yet. I want to though.
Right.
As well as some smaller roles in other films, like appearing in Jay and Silent Bob reboots, which I thought was really awesome. I can hope that he's kind of got a second wind and is feeling a lot better now and might be open to the possibility of staying on as the character for just a little longer.
Well, I mean, because if Pattinson's doing the big budget, the bigger movie stuff,
right?
And the thing is, this could be a franchise for just exclusively HBO Max, which I would be, because I mean, we don't know how much of.
Jeez, I keep just moving in my chair.
We don't know how Snyder Cut's going. The Snyder Cut's going to end. If it is going to end on a cliffhanger, and stuff like that. And I imagine if they let it end on a cliffhanger, they have to be open to the possibility of getting more in this universe. Because I would love
that universe.
Right, in that universe. I'd love
to get up inside there.
Yeah. No, I love the I'd love to see what they do. Because you watch the Snyder Cut trailer and it's like, oh, this feels not only like a completely different movie, but it feels like Ben Affleck gives a shit.
Yeah, well, it just feels like there's actually, some, I guess, coherence to what's going on now. Because the initial, the Whedon version that we ended up getting just felt like a cobbled together mess of scenes that tries to have a plot.
Well, it's very plot heavy. The Whedon cut is very. It's all.
But it doesn't even feel like it's a plot though.
Right.
It just feels like shit's happening.
okay, now we're doing this. Okay, now we're doing this.
Yeah, that's literally what I mean. It's just like, yeah, it's very, plot and dialogue driven. It still just feels like, hey, we're gonna go over here so these characters can talk about this. Hey, we're gonna go over here so this thing can happen. We're gonna go back over here so these
Well, and
other
I don't
characters can
understand.
talk. It's just
I still do not understand. Why would you put bad CGI over good CGI? Because like they redesigned Steppenwolf.
yeah, and
Make him look more.
now
I don't understand. Like it's like why would you do that? But
it looks like the type of watered down thing that you would do to an edgier character for like a kid's show.
Exactly.
That's literally what it looks like.
No, exactly. And then, like I said, I mean, again, I think the Snyder Cut's going to be good. I've heard a rumor we're gonna get it in March, that it's because it's gonna be a 4-episode, 1 hour long stuff. I mean that's.
Well, I mean that was part of the official announcement.
Right. Yeah. But
I'm excited for that.
No, yeah, I am. But
It's like, yay, we get to watch the director's cut. A whole 4 fucking hours of it.
This isn't even a director's cut. This is an entirely different movie.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah, like
I just still kind of just find it funny. It's like, oh yeah, we get to watch this.
4 hours.
4 hours of it.
No, I'm looking forward to, just because, like, I mean, I think this is just. I think this is the thing that's going to turn the tide, hopefully, in Hollywood, because Hollywood goes through ups and downs where it's more creator driven, then it's more business driven, and I think the fact that this shows more. I mean, the fact that Snyder's getting to finish his vision. Granted, it is because of money, because they think they can make money off of it, but
Right.
This opens the door to. Okay, well, let's have more creative stuff, So I think that's a good thing, because, like, I mean, I know some people have been clamoring for the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad, which I'd be interested in seeing. I know some people want to see the Schumacher version of Batman Forever.
No, he can piss off.
I'm sorry?
He can piss off. We're not doing this.
Well, Schumacher's dead. So
we're still not doing this.
Well, I mean, they're talking. Here's the thing: people are like, "Oh, I want to see the Schumacher version." The Schumacher version is mostly the version we got in theaters and on DVD and everything. It's just that it had a different opening, and there was like a couple deleted scenes.
Doesn't matter. Anything from that guy, I don't want to see.
Hey, come on! He made Lost Boys and fucking 8mm and Phone Booth and shit. He's a good director. Leave him alone.
You just named one good thing that he's made. Just one good thing. Just one. And that wasn't even because of him. That was just because of the acting.
Why would you hate on Schumacher? Why do you hate?
I think you know why. It's the same reason I dislike filmmakers like M. Night Shyamalan or Roland Emmerich. The fucker.
Yeah. I agree with you on I agree with you on Roland Emmerich, but I like Shyamalan, and I like.
It's basically he's basically Spielberg, like trying to be Spielberg.
Oh no, Emmerich's a shitty version of Spielberg.
Yeah, it's basically trying to be Spielberg, but instead going in a completely different direction and then hitting on Michael Bay.
Right, but no,
that's basically what his entire fucking formula is.
Oh god, yeah. I mean,
it's like I'm trying to be Spielberg with my cinema, but it looks more like a fucking like Michael Bay movie. Are you shitting me?
Independence Day literally steals the "Must Go Faster" line from Jurassic Park with Jeff Goldblum. But no, I'm looking forward to the Snyder Cut. I hope we get it in March, like the rumors are saying. I'm interested to see if this is going to impact. Is this going to impact the DCEU? Is this going to basically be like?
If this impacts anything, I'll be surprised.
So you think it's just going to be a standalone?
If we're lucky, we might get more, but I'm thinking this might just be like a one and done deal until they see dollar signs or potential dollar signs with something else.
Well, Well, I mean, the thing is, like, how much do you want to bet? Because Wonder Woman 84 is coming to HBO Max on Christmas. How much do you want to bet that in, like, a post-credit scene for that movie, they're going to have, like, a release date for the Snyder Cut? Or they're going to do something.
Maybe.
They're going to do something.
Maybe. I honestly don't know what to think.
I could see them putting something in the credits of that, or even like a teaser before the movie. But That's all.
I just want the Batman. I just want the Batman. That's all I want.
The Robert Pattinson movie or the
Just give me that. Just give me that, please.
Yeah.
I love what I'm seeing. I love what I've seen thus far. Just give me more, please.
I know. Well, they got to finish shooting the movie first because of COVID. But
however long it takes, I just want it. I want it. I want my Battinson fix.
I want
please.
I want to see it too, but also I wouldn't mind seeing a Batfleck series. Come on,
Your heart's in the wrong place. No, I know. I actually, depending on what the premise is and how they go about it, I'd be open to seeing it.
Yeah, but I don't have anything else, unless there's something you want to touch on really quick. If not, then we can just talk about, and I'll send you the link for this. But we're doing a feature film movie. Hopefully, we're doing campaign and raising for it. If you'd like to donate, that'd be fantastic. Last Stand of the Dead.
Yes, we're not doing a shameless plug-in. We swear to God.
Oh yeah,
we're just boasting on about our first feature film and
exactly. And won our first award for our first short was we just won best horror short at the Hollywood Florida Film Festival a few weeks ago.
For our wonderful short film working title, which you can see the poster of in the background of the shots.
Mm-hmm.
Just look over his shoulder. There you go.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was our first big short film, first horror film, and it's been an amazing slam dunk. Huge props to everyone that that put in a shitload of effort into making this thing become real, and we're looking to try to knock it out of the park again with our first feature film. We're still a little bit of time before cameras are rolling, but right now we're just trying to
get some in and do some stuff like that. But
ball's still rolling, but it's a word. Yeah, it will get made. It will get made. It's just gonna take time.
It will get made. Yeah, no.
But we wanted to shamelessly plug it in with links to our campaign as well as our official pages and shit like that. So that'll be in the description. But
yeah, and like I said, we're gonna be plugging that out, and then we will be back next week with a new video. If you want,
feel free to follow us on our socials if you sort of thing. Either our personal ones, which I guess it can be listed on the screen near our faces, and then also our official pages, which there'll be links to those in the description as well. And yeah, that's really the gist of it. We're back. We're gonna try to make this a regular thing now. We're hoping that we're gonna try to do this whole podcast thing and hopefully get it right this time by having an actual format, structure, and totally not a gimmick by having one person be your typical white bread individual and have your other be your lovely cinnamon raisin bread.
Spicy. Sometimes I put salt on things. Okay,
everyone puts fucking salt on things. You're not bringing anything special to the table. Come on.
Man, you gotta be so.
If you weren't as like a well-versed pop culture nerd as I am that knows their shit, it's like I don't know how this would work.
But no. No, I
kid though. I love this guy like a brother.
I love Max like a sister. But no.
Yes, you're very weird, fucked up sister.
My lovely, lovely sister. No, but yeah. So we're gonna be back next week, and be back with a new episode. If there's anything specific you want us to talk about, please leave it in the comments, or anything else you want us to elaborate on more, leave in the comments. Don't forget.
Yes, don't be afraid to start discussions with us. That's kind of our whole shtick.
Yeah,
it's all discussions. We know we're starting with very small potatoes here, but seriously, if you want to ask us to talk about something or want to talk with us, like start a conversation with us directly, please, we encourage that. It's like what's the point of being a fan, like a nerd of fandom and being into various stuff if you can't openly discuss it with other people in a very respectful and neutral ground.
Exactly.
But we got to do more of that.
And yeah, with that, I think we're going to end it. Thank you for watching. If you stuck with us for the whole video, we really appreciate it. Please
we really do, because this is our hobby.
Right.
We got nothing else. We don't have anything else worth merit.
Right. Except our films. Please like,
sure.
Like and subscribe and share if you want. That'd be fantastic.
Doing all the shameless YouTube plugin stuff, but yeah.
All the standard YouTube stuff. Please let us know, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Take care, y'all.